You think fuel became expensive in 2026? It actually became expensive the day the politicians realized they could sell you empty air and call it petrol. On January 13, 2011, a massive cargo ship named the MT Emerald submitted a bill to the Nigerian government. The captain claimed he had just docked in Lagos. He claimed he had pumped 15,000 metric tons of petrol into Nigerian storage tanks. He presented a stamped paper. He presented a Navy clearance certificate. He presented a beautiful fresh signature. Based on these ordinary papers, the Central Bank of Nigeria paid the fuel importer 1.5 billion naira. Cash. There was just one tiny problem. At the exact moment the captain claimed to be unloading fuel in Lagos, satellite tracking data showed the ship was nowhere near Nigeria. The ship was 3,000 miles away, quietly docked in the freezing waters of Rotterdam in Europe. The ship in Lagos did not exist. The fuel did not exist. But that 1.5 billion naira payment? It was very real. So, when you buy 1 liter of fuel today at 1,000 naira, remember this story. When your transport fare increases tomorrow morning, remember this invisible ship. But how did a ghost ship collect billions of naira from the Nigerian treasury? And why did nobody go to jail?
Power is never given. It is taken, hidden, and controlled. This is historic capital.
Every Nigerian pays this bill today. But most Nigerians don't know the cabal that created it. In this dossier, we are opening the files on the 2011 Subsidy heist. We will show you exactly how politicians, government agencies, and briefcase companies used invisible ships to drain the wealth of the nation. We will show you the drama they used to distract you. We will show you how the cartel protects its own. Before we begin, a short appreciation to our subscribers. Historic Capital exists because everyday citizens want to understand how this system actually works. If you want the truth, click subscribe. Then tell us in the comments, what is the current price of petrol where you live? Include your state or country. We read every comment because every investigation begins with the people. Now, let us follow the money all the way to the people making you pay more for petrol. The biggest export from Nigeria is no longer crude oil. It is Nigerian suffering. Nigeria is the largest oil producer in Africa, yet we import almost all our refined petrol. Why? Because the 4 state-owned refineries in Port Harcourt, Warri, and Kaduna have been deliberately left to rot. This is not incompetence. Please do not insult their intelligence. This is a brilliant business plan. If the refineries work, Nigeria produces its own fuel. If Nigeria produces its own fuel, there is no need to import it. If there is no need to import, there are no import contracts for the boys. Therefore, the refineries must never work. Because the refineries are dead, the government created a system. In simple English, here is how it worked. You travel to Europe. You buy petrol for 140 naira per liter. You bring it to Nigeria. But the government has fixed the pump price at 65 naira. So the government tells you, sell it to the citizens for 65 naira. Bring us the papers and we will pay you the 75 naira difference. That difference is called the subsidy. On paper, it was designed to help the poor. But the cabal realized it was a blank check. They realized the government was not paying for fuel. The government was paying for pieces of paper. This is why parents skip meals today so their children can eat. The money meant for your nation was traded for fake documents. But who was approving these documents?
They didn't need to drill oil. They didn't need ships. They just needed a cybercafe, a printer, and a friend in government. The agency responsible for checking these papers was the Petroleum Products Pricing Regulatory Agency, the PPPRA. Under the administration of President Goodluck Jonathan, a miracle happened at the PPPRA. In 2006, there were only 5 major companies licensed to import fuel. By 2011, there were 128. Construction companies suddenly started importing fuel. Furniture companies started importing fuel. Companies registered just 3 days ago were handed multi-billion naira licenses. It was simple. Create fake papers, submit them, collect billions, repeat. Their favorite magic trick was called round tripping. Imagine a taxi driver in Abuja. The government pays him 10,000 naira every time he drives a passenger from the airport. He drops the passenger. But instead of going back to the airport, he drives around the corner, changes his shirt, puts a fake beard on the exact same passenger, and drives back to the government office. He claims it is a new trip. He gets paid again. This is exactly what the fuel importers did on the Atlantic Ocean. A ship unloads fuel in Lagos. The government pays the subsidy. The ship sails back out to the ocean. It turns off its tracking system. It waits 3 days. It changes its paperwork. It sails back into Lagos. It presents the exact same fuel as a new cargo. The government pays the subsidy again. One cargo of fuel was paid for 3, 4, or 5 times. This is why your salary disappears before the month ends, because the wealth of your country was paid to the exact same ships over and over again. But how much did they actually steal before the alarm went off?
Math does not lie, but politicians do. In 2011, the National Assembly approved a budget. They said Nigeria needed 245 billion naira for subsidy payments. By December, the government had paid out 2.6 trillion naira. They spent 10 times the approved budget. The central bank governor at the time, Sanusi Lamido Sanusi, looked at the banking ledgers and shouted. He asked a simple, sarcastic question. How did Nigeria's population stay the same? The number of cars stayed the same, but our daily fuel consumption magically doubled in 12 months? Are Nigerians drinking petrol for breakfast? The answer was simple. We were not consuming the fuel. We were consuming the fraud. This is why hospitals have no equipment. The budget for healthcare was swallowed by ghost ships. Nigerians finally woke up. They took to the streets. The system was about to crash. But how does a corrupt system save itself when the people demand justice? You create a distraction. A very expensive Hollywood-style distraction. In January 2012, Nigerians could not take it anymore. The Occupy Nigeria protests shut down Lagos, Abuja, and Kano. Under massive public anger, the House of Representatives set up a committee to investigate. The chairman was Farook Lawan. He was known everywhere as Mr. Integrity. He promised to expose the thieves. He summoned the big boys. He summoned the NNPC. Lawan's committee discovered the truth. 15 importers had collected billions without bringing in a single drop of fuel. They demanded the immediate refund of 1.7 trillion naira. It looked like justice. It looked like the bad guys were finally going to pay. But watch the magic trick. Watch the cabal at work. The cabal does not fight with lawyers. They fight with cash. And they protect their own. Just before the final report was released, billionaire Femi Otedola went to the press. He claimed that Farook Lawan approached him in the dark. He claimed Lawan demanded a $3 million bribe to remove xenon oil from the guilty list. A hidden camera was set up. Nigerians watched the video in absolute shock. Mr. Integrity, Farook Lawan, was recorded collecting $620,000 in pure cash. We do not use the word allegedly here. He was caught red-handed. He stuffed the wads of dollars into his pockets. And when his pockets were completely full, he took off his cap and stuffed the rest of the money inside it. Now pause and look closely. You can see the pattern, right? This was the perfect distraction. The story changed instantly. The media stopped talking about the 1.7 trillion naira stolen by the ghost ships. The public stopped asking for the refund. Everybody, the newspapers, the radio stations, the citizens, was only talking about the dollars in the cap. The investigation died. The 1.7 trillion naira was never recovered. The ghost ship owners quietly walked away with your future. Farook Lawan eventually went to prison. But the architects of the ghost ships? They kept their licenses. They kept their mansions in London. This is exactly how the cabal protects themselves. It is a tight circle. When the heat gets too much, they throw one politician under the bus. They create a massive scandal on television,
And while you are busy watching the drama, they walk out the back door with the vault. This is why graduates are driving keke today. The money meant to build factories is sitting in foreign real estate, protected by the drama of 2012. But the private importers were not the only ones stealing.
The private importers were greedy, but the biggest thief was the government itself. Enter the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, the NNPC. The NNPC is the ultimate financial black box. Because the refineries don't work, the NNPC takes Nigeria's crude oil and gives it to foreign traders in Europe. In exchange, the traders are supposed to bring back refined petrol. It is a barter system. Crude oil goes out, petrol comes in. But who checks the math? Audit reports showed that the value of the petrol coming back was always far less than the crude oil leaving. Billions of dollars vanished in the middle of the ocean. The NNPC claimed they were operating at a loss. They called it under recovery. Because of this brilliant excuse, they deducted their costs directly from the oil revenue before the money even reached the central bank. In some months, despite high global oil prices, the NNPC remitted 0 naira to the government account. Nothing, zero. This is why the value of the naira collapsed. When the government's main source of dollars remits nothing, the currency dies. Your purchasing power dies with it. But who pays the ultimate price for this grand extraction? Nigeria is not failing by accident. The system was designed to extract wealth. Oil is extracted, money is extracted, taxes are extracted, foreign exchange is extracted. Citizens work harder. The system takes more. In May 2023, the new government made an announcement. Subsidy is gone. Almost instantly, the price of fuel jumped from 190 naira to over 1,000 naira per litre. Nigerians were told they had to suffer because the subsidy was unsustainable. And yes, it was unsustainable. You cannot spend 90% of your national revenue servicing a fraud. But look at who is paying the price today. The people paying the price today are not the people who stole the money in 2011. The mechanic in Ibadan paying 1,200 naira for a litre of fuel is paying for the ghost ships. The market trader in Kano paying triple for transport is paying for the glass mansions in Maitama. No one sees the assets of the 2011 fuel importers. The debt stayed in Nigeria, resting on your shoulders. The capital fled abroad into Swiss bank accounts. And the refineries in Port Harcourt? They are still receiving billions for turnaround maintenance. They still produce nothing. Because if they produce, the ghost ships cannot sail. The game ends. If you have watched this far, you must understand the truth. The people who designed this system were not stealing petrol. They were stealing hospitals. They were stealing roads. They were stealing electricity. They were stealing jobs. They were stealing factories. They were stealing the value of your naira. They were stealing decades of Nigeria's future. That is the story, not fuel. The fuel was only the method. The bribery in the cap was only the distraction. This investigation connects directly to the banking sector. If you want to understand how the former central bank governor Godwin Emefiele used the exchange rate to finish the exact same job that the subsidy thieves started, you need to subscribe. We are preparing the Emefiele files right now. Leave a comment below. Do you see the pattern now? Do you remember the 2012 Occupy Nigeria protests? Tell us your story. You are watching Historic Capital. The truth is in the transactions. Follow the money.